What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the A7E podcast. This is your host, Jiggadrin. Guys, I have a returning guest, my cousin, Monica Gracia.
Hey, Adrian.
How are you?
I'm great. I've been
Good.
doing great.
Good. So, guys, real quick before we get into the conversation, just like in the last episode that I did, I want to ask you guys to please, if you enjoy podcasts, if you enjoy a nice conversation, kind of being just the third person listening in, please consider subscribing, liking the episode, guys. And I think this is going to be a good one. Been
It's
looking
always
forward.
a good one.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it since for about what did you say? 4 months now.
I want to say March since the last time that we got together.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was March, and you did mention on the episode that you're gonna come back in 3 or 4 months. So
I did, and then I got sidetracked with work and everything, so it took me a little bit longer, but now I'm here, and here we are.
yeah, cool. So okay, so tell me kind of what's new with you. I know one thing that I've noticed the most with you is that you have gotten yourself a personal trainer.
I have.
Yeah.
I actually just let's see. I started working with Chris. Chris is my trainer. He's from Florida, Lake Placid. He's amazing. Like if I'll brag about him all the time.
Yeah.
But I joined with Chris probably about, I want to say roughly 17 weeks ago. I originally started with a 12-week program with him, and I don't think I'm going to just stop using him. So I
Okay.
think we're going to be in this for the long haul. And yeah, I'm so happy that I hired him as my trainer because he's given me so much insight as far as being able to train properly with proper form,
Okay.
and not necessarily have to kill myself with heavy weight all the time. And I've seen a lot of progress. And I'm very happy so far with my progress.
Good. So I mean, obviously you do, again, very, like I said in the last episode, you do very well in posting your updates, your progress, and
Yeah.
it's very obvious that you have a lot of results. So
Yes.
I think I don't know Chris that much. Obviously, probably not at all. Just a few Instagram messages here and there. He seems like a great guy, but I think he's doing a good job with the group that he has.
Yes.
When he posts things like on his story or post, his group seems very engaged. Like
They
with
are.
him, it seems like he's very attentive. He's very detailed in the work that he does, and I think that's very impressive from personal trainers.
I am very impressed with Chris. Not just because he knows what he's doing, but his approach to the way that he does his business to me is like so admirable. And I love watching him work because it makes me feel like doing the same thing, trying
Yeah.
to do a little bit more. He definitely has a passion for what he does, and it shows through his clients. And like I said, working with him for the last 17 weeks, I've also gotten a chance to engage with a lot of the girls from the Glute Academy that he has. And on Thursdays, we normally train with a group ranging between 9 to 12, 13 girls. And I've built a relationship with them too I think is always necessary to have a good support group. And that's one of the reasons too, whenever I hired Chris, I wanted to do that because I saw that he did have a group of women that he was training. He focuses more on women's training, which I like that.
Of course.
And for me, I kind of wanted more stability with my workouts, but at the same time, I wanted to socialize a little bit more with women that were a part of what I was trying to do. Sometimes as a woman, it's really hard to get that support from someone else. So for me, it was like a win-win situation. Not only did I get a great trainer, I got an awesome support group. Like those girls are very supportive of everything. We're all very supportive of each other. And I think that just kind of fuels all of us to keep going harder and in other words, make Chris proud of us,
Yeah. So let me ask you this. In your opinion or in your experience so far, what do you think the main difference between having a trainer and then doing the work on your own? What would you say is like the biggest difference?
I think for me, a lot of it was I had been doing training for so long that I thought I had a general idea of what I was doing. And I had gotten great results on my own, I feel like for myself. But then whenever I went to Chris, I felt not only did he restructure everything that I thought that I knew, he made it more effective without having to do more than what I was already doing. And two, I think I like the fact that he holds me accountable, and the expectations that he has for me sometimes aren't the same ones that I have for myself. And sometimes we need that reminder that other people can see in us what we don't see in ourselves.
Yeah.
So I feel like the times that I feel that I'm not at my best as far as how I feel about myself, Chris picks me up and he reminds me that it's like, hey, you're a badass. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I like that because sometimes whenever you feel like someone's watching you and they have goals for you in their head, you want to be able to hit those goals for them too.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like for me, I feel that the difference between training with a trainer and training with myself is that I just didn't have the discipline to push myself past that point of pain, where it really gets tough trying to get results. And he pushes me, and I definitely hate him in that moment, but afterwards it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I love the feeling.
I think that's one thing that that I'm kind of struggling with in the gym. So I've been going to the gym probably since January now consistently.
Right.
And what I'm starting to struggle with the most is actually pushing harder in the workouts. Sometimes, obviously, I'll kind of realistically cheat myself, out of a rep or a set, or if I have something planned, I'm like, oh, I already did enough, I'll make up for it, whatever. And that's obviously not good at all because, I mean, when you go in with the plan, you kind of want to stick to it as best as you can, especially because the reason why you came up with that plan is because that's probably what's going to get you the results. Yeah. And if you're skipping out or cheating out a bit, then obviously you're cheating out your results, and that's not good. So I've actually been highly considering, looking for a trainer simply for that specific reason that you said, kind of that push through support, pushing you to maybe past physical limits that you haven't experienced in a while.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been looking into. So,
well, I think I think everyone can kind of relate to that as far as when you're in the gym by yourself, are you really pushing yourself the most you can go? Or are you telling people like, yeah, I did the 10 reps, but you did 8. Or you did them like half-assed where you're not really paying attention. You're not really concentrating and focusing on what you're doing. And I think that right there makes the biggest difference because if I felt like I could push myself past that limit of pain, and I say pain very loosely because it's just your muscle just getting overworked at that point to where it is not comfortable. And most people stop before they get past that. You know what I mean? And I feel like with Chris, one of his sayings, and he's even made shirts that says every rep counts. And to me, he makes every single rep count because what's the point of writing a workout plan that says you can do 10 to 12 reps if you're only going to do 8? Then the reps are irrelevant. There's no reason to even put them there if they didn't count. But I think a lot of people, they think that they're on a roll for a goal and things like that. And when you rob yourself of 2 really good reps every set, at the end of the workout, you're like, that's a whole set right there that I robbed myself out of. It's not just 1 or 2 reps. It's longevity. Like, what are you really taking away from yourself? Yeah. And to me, it's like, if you're not going to put in the work for those extra 2 reps in that moment, then what's the point of keep going to start something new tomorrow? Yeah. So I think with him, I've learned to just power through. And even when I don't want to do it, or if I feel like I have something else to do, you got to just prioritize what you're wanting to do.
I agree. So let's talk about, obviously you got the workout part down. You're doing really good in that. How is the nutrition aspect for you? I'm sure, I know that's the toughest part, but in your experience, and the reason why I like to get your insight in this is because you're kind of going through something that I'm looking forward to going through, or that's what I'm considering is, whenever I want to, hire somebody, so to speak, and then get on the nutrition plan where I know that if I stick to it, the results will be everything probably that I'm looking for. But in your experience, like how did you start? Where are you at? And like, how does it feel?
Okay. So whenever anyone starts anything new, you start off like the first 2 weeks, like, oh, like, hell yeah, solid. Like all for it, solid. You're not missing a beat. You're hitting every calorie. You're hitting every rep. You're hitting everything that you're supposed to be doing within the plan. And then that's where you start falling off if you don't have the right discipline. Yeah. And for me, the one thing that I've talked to Chris about is the fact that I can put in the work as far as physically, but for some reason I rob myself of my nutrition. I feel like I don't eat as much as I should. And my job gets very busy. So sometimes if I don't eat in that window of opportunity, you almost get too hungry. You don't want to eat anymore after that. Yeah. And I know a lot of people have probably felt that. And sometimes for me, it's a lot to try to eat 2,300 calories in a day. That's where I'm supposed to be at. And we're talking about at least 150 grams in protein. Yeah. That's a lot of protein when you think about it, because I've sat here and ate these big old meals And the calories are irrelevant, you know what I mean, as far as I'm hitting my macros and things like that. But sometimes I don't know if I give myself like a mental block where it's like I'm hungry but I don't want to eat. I get past the point of being too hungry and then I can't eat even though I'm hungry. And then sometimes it's just easy to get distracted from your meal plan whenever you don't meal prep.
Yeah.
Meal prep is very important. If you do not do it at the beginning of the week, and I try to choose Sunday night, that way I can be ready for Monday and forward, and then Thursday to try to meal prep. And that gives me enough time to be able to have 3 to 4 meals throughout the week and then still have time to remake meals for the rest of the week. But it's definitely very hard. Like for me, I thought it was physically going to be harder to do the workout than eating. And if anything, I was like, man, I can eat all that. That's a lot of food. I can do that. And that's tough for me.
Wow. That's interesting.
It is. And then it kind of discourages you a little bit because like, yes, I made a lot of progress. I'm very happy with my progress. But then when I look at it, I'm like, but it could have been better if I stuck to my meals. It would have been better if I would have ate all my protein. Like my legs would have been bigger. I would have seen more definition. So to me, it's like, that's something that I'm working on right now, is just really trying to narrow in on what I want out of my foods, and instead of eating crap that I don't need to be eating, redirect that to food that essentially is going to fuel my body and then take me to where I want to be for my goals.
I completely agree. I know whenever I was so I just came back from Austin and I was probably weighing like 180. I was relatively thin or skinny for me and my past experiences, and I was like, okay, well, for once in my life, because I was kind of done with the, trying to stay too fit for soccer and things like that. I was like, I want to experience something new, so I'm going to try bulking, and I figured out how many calories I need to eat and so on and so forth. And it was actually tough, and I love to eat.
It's tougher than it sounds, because you think that you'd be able to eat all these calories like easy, and then you realize like cleaning or eating clean is tough, because you can eat a lot of food and you still need to eat more. Yeah. You still need to eat more just to maintain where you're trying to be. Yeah,
so I did start kind of realizing the difference between dense foods and like foods that are less dense. So obviously your less dense foods are probably your cleaner ones, like with your high protein, low carb, whatever depending on what you're on. And then the dense foods, knowing that I can down 2,000 calories probably at a Whataburger meal, right? But the macros are going to be just massively off. So then essentially you're wasting, all of these, nutrition space, right? So now you're at 2,000 calories, and I can down. Basically what I'm trying to say is I can do 4,000 calories in like half a day. Just go to Whataburger twice, so to speak. Yeah. But if I do it with clean eating, that's like, probably the equivalent of 5 to 6 meals with quality macros, your protein, and that's where it becomes difficult, because like you feel like you're just eating and eating.
There was one time that I logged in my food and I started eating. I tried the cauliflower rice. I don't know if you ever tried that one. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, it's good. And mentally, I feel like it fools you into thinking that you're having rice and then you're not. So 1 cup is like 10 calories compared to when I had to write down all my meals. Yeah. I was like, man, that really puts into perspective what food you're eating. So 1 cup of cauliflower rice, it was like 10, 20 calories, depending on how much you put in there. And then 1 cup of white rice was 200 calories. Yep. And I was like, wow. So to me, that time that I logged that meal, I was eating 5 ounces of chicken with a cup of cauliflower rice with maybe like a cup of broccoli, if not a little bit more. I don't really weigh my vegetables. I just try to add as much as I can. And I think that meal logged in for like 200 calories. Really? And I was like, that's it.
And you felt like a lot, right?
And I was full. Yeah. And to me, it's like, that's what makes it better, is the fact that you can eat these huge meals and be fulfilled and not necessarily have to use up all your calories for it, and not feel guilty that you ate a meal that was 1,200 calories in one meal. Yeah. So I think that's very important, to kind of be aware of what you're eating. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, I'm going to eat this, or I ate this all throughout the day. It was fine. But if you don't log in your meals, you'll realize that sometimes you had a soda here, or you had this and that, and all that starts adding up and working against you. Yeah. But too, I think it puts into perspective where you're at whenever you start logging your meals. You can see like which meals are more effective. Yes. Like, you want something big? Well, here you go. This one's for 200 calories. Yeah. What
were you using like to track your meals?
Right now, I'm just using my FitnessPal. Yeah. Okay. And that, I think everybody has that one on their phone. I don't even use the premium. I just use the regular stuff. That one is synced in with the application that Chris has because he has his own app, online app. It's called Paragene Fitness. And that one I synced it together. So everything that I log into my Fitness Pal, he can see it through on his app. And then he can kind of see where I'm messing up, where I'm not hitting my calories. He's like, hey, you're not making progress because you're not eating. He pretty much the only thing that Chris gets on to me every week, eat your meals, eat your meals, eat your meals.
Like you're not eating enough?
I'm not eating enough. Yeah. And sometimes like too, I get busy and I don't log my meals. I think a lot of people can get distracted like that too. But for me, it's just the fact that all it comes down to is just me eating. Yeah. And it could make a huge change. And I don't know why it's so hard for me.
Yes.
So, I mean, if any of y'all can help me out, let me know. Because I don't know what else to do to make sure that I'm hitting everything that I'm supposed to be hitting.
Yeah. So I know that we live in a world, we exist in a time where doing bad things or getting negative results is way easier than getting positive results. Yeah. Right? Because of that.
You get more support being bad than you do good.
Yeah. And most of the time it's easier to do that. Like for instance, since we're speaking about fitness and, food and whatnot. So I was actually doing so I just took a trip to Cancun, right?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I saw that.
It was the first.
Dude, all the food looked amazing. I saw that. I was like, man.
Yeah, it was, I'm gonna call it the second real trip that I've probably ever taken in my life, because the first one I did go to Vegas earlier this year. Okay. But the settings and environment were way different. Like I felt like in the Cancun, I really relaxed. Like for the first time in my life, I felt like I really relaxed. It's phenomenal service. I mean, if anybody's like planning a trip for a vacation, it has to be in those type of like resorts or where everything's like all inclusive. You don't have to worry about thinking.
Was there a specific one that you used?
I mean, the one we went to was called Excellence Riviera, Cancun. It's just
Excellence Riviera.
Yeah. Okay. So Excellence has like a variety of like resorts. Okay. But the one we stayed at was Riviera. It was like adults only. Just so it was like it was like,
especially if you don't have kids.
Yeah. So at the moment having the kids, so the peace and quiet was actually really good. And like when you met other grown-ups, like they were, you were able to have fun with that type of like setting. I don't know how to call it. Yeah. Without having to worry about like catering like to kids and this and that. So the peace and quiet was nice. So I was doing really good with like my nutrition before, because obviously trying to look as best as possible. And then I had already made my mind up, and I was like,
the before and after Cancun.
Yeah, like I should have done it because it was drastic, and I couldn't believe it. And I thought, when I take this trip, like I'm not gonna hold back. I'm not going to watch my calories because I have not ever done anything like this. It's all inclusive. Like it's a dream for me. So I went, and then we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I was having room service every single night.
I know, it looks so good.
Yeah, so I was telling mom and dad that, let's say just with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like I was easily consuming 3,500 calories. Like there was not a moment in Cancun that I was not full, like full to the max. And I am every night before bed, like I would order another easily 4,000 calories. So like I was down, and it had to be close to about 7,000 calories a day. And I thought
that's enough for you and Liliana.
Yeah. So, and she had her own little calorie budget situation. So, and I thought to myself, I am eating a lot, but there's no way that I'm going to gain that much weight in such a short period of time. So I was like, I'm not going to worry about it.
You brought a souvenir back from Cancun, eh?
Yeah. And then, so I kind of put on my Instagram that I easily gained 15 pounds in 6 days. And I was just like,
crazy.
It's so crazy. But, like it was worth it because of how delicious everything was. But now I have to deal with that. And it's like, I'm like grabbing myself and I'm showing Eliana, I'm like, there's no way. Like, I was nowhere near this before I took off, and it's shocking. And the reason I say that is because it's so easy. Like if you really don't watch yourself, it's so easy to end up in a bad spot.
It is.
Like you keep digging your hole deeper and deeper, and before you realize it, the work that you have to do to be generally healthy becomes so deep that people get so discouraged to even try to get out of. Right. And at that point, people just think, you know what, I'm already in this hole. There's no way I can get out, because they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yep. Like, that's it. And they're just going to stay there. And I feel that's very difficult when people just kind of give up, and not knowing that it's really just a matter of small steps and discipline to get to a point where they can be healthy. So
I agree. And I think sometimes like people take the wrong approach when it comes to eating cleaner and fitness and things like that. Everyone's like, they think about it like, oh, just to lose weight, just to build muscle, just to look a specific way. And in reality, it's like, this is the one body that we get for the rest of our lives. And right now, obesity and diabetes and everything like that's an all-time high. I mean, there is junk food within reach. You can buy a burger for $1, but you can buy a salad for $10. That's not okay. And to me, sometimes like that convenience, people forget that it's like, because it is so convenient, you're going to end up falling off easier. And that's where discipline really comes into play, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're all grown adults. We can do whatever the hell we want to do. I don't have to answer to anyone. If I want to sit here and eat like crap all day long, at the end of the day, it's my body. I don't care. But I also know how I feel once I get to a certain point, and I get more disappointed in myself, because not that I have to sit here and be skinny or that I have to be muscular or anything. It's just for the simple fact that I see people that have diabetes. I see people that have heart disease that are my age. And to me, it's like, I don't want that for myself. I've always considered myself a pretty healthy, strong person. And it's like, yeah, I do have like bad habits as far as like, I used to drink back in the day when I was younger. I think everybody went through that phase. Just not really caring about what food you're putting in your body. And to me, it's just got to a point where it's like, this is not what I want. Yeah. And I think that's why I struggle with that right now, because I know what I want. And it's like, why am I self-sabotaging myself right now? Why? Like, nobody's forcing me to work out 5 days out of the week. I choose that. And I want to be able to feel fulfilled with myself, being able to have the discipline to say, no, I don't want that, or I do want that. I don't keep myself from eating something if I want it, but I also want to make sure that I'm self-aware that if I ate that, then later on, I got to backtrack a little bit. Yeah. One analogy that me and Chris have used before is like, let's say your calories or your macros. If for anyone that's counting macros, you think of your macros at the beginning of the day as, hold on. I feel like a lot of people, they think like macros, you can't eat, you're so restricted, you can't have anything that you want, and you can. But you also have to stay within your macros, you know what I mean? And to me, the way that I see it is like, okay, you start the day off with $100. If you spend $90 of those in breakfast, you only got $10 to eat the rest of your day, or to spend on anything the rest of your day. So to me, it's like, just think about it. Like, your macros is how much money you have to be able to use throughout your day. Yeah. So if you want to sit there and use $50 on Oreos at the beginning of your day, that's fine. But you only have $50 left for the rest of your day to do that makes sense. Clean eating. Yeah. And whenever he said it like that, it really put into perspective. I'm like, well, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to use all my tokens at the beginning, or do I want to spread them out and be able to enjoy everything throughout the day? So I think when you think about it like that, it's like, well, yeah, you can have it. Chris isn't telling me that I can't have anything. Okay. He just says, you know what your macros are, so you stick with it. Yeah. If you want to sit here and eat peanut butter for breakfast, okay. You can't have that shit the rest of the day. And I think that really helps out, put into perspective too.
And it's funny you say that in regards to you wanting to be aware of the things that you kind of eat, and because you have people your age with heart disease and things like that, diabetes. Yeah. It's funny you say that because Manny on the last episode, he was talking about how his perspective on overall health changed like drastically, because obviously he's a nurse, so
he works in the health field. He sees it.
He sees everything firsthand, and he was just like, man, like, because Manny's been like up and down through like massive weight gain.
Oh, I know. I swear, Manuel is like the one person that can be on one and the other end of the spectrum like that. I'm like, how do you gain so much weight, but then as soon as he checks himself, he can get that result right back?
Yeah, and he's done that like 3 times, and he kind of told me this time he's like, I don't want to do that anymore. He's like, you know, seeing these people in the hospitals is very difficult to basically imagine myself here. He's like, I don't want to be here. It's like, I don't want to be basically one of my patients. Right. And I think, and I really like the last episode because it really got to a point where if there's anybody listening, I think being aware of overall health is very important, because like we keep thinking that we have so much time, and it's like so much time. So it's like, tomorrow I'll do it, like tomorrow I'll start, or next week. And then by the time you know, like years have gone by, but you're also, it's not just time that has gone by. It's like you have gotten so further away from, you know, a good point of health that, again, it goes back to digging your hole so much deeper that you kind of just don't even want, some people can't go back.
I mean, if you're going to keep digging that hole, might as well take your casket with you, because that's where you're going to be. Yeah. And I hate to say it like that, but at the end of the day, like, I think a lot of people think that medicine's going to fix everything for them, or they're going to have this special pill that's going to help them. And honestly, at the end of the day, it starts with you. If you don't sit there and take the initiative to take control over your life, what kind of life are you going to really have? There's so many people that I've seen like lose their youth to being lazy, to not wanting to do anything, to just kind of going to work, going home, eating, dancing on the weekends, drinking, and that's all fine. But to me, it's like some people, by the time that they want to see what their body can do for them, their body can't do for them anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, I hear so many people that say, well, when I retire, I'm going to start traveling. Well, unless you sit there and stay physically fit until you retire, the chances of you being able to go and travel and do all these things that you want to do are very unlikely. There's so many people that have knee problems because they gain weight. There's people that can't even hike because they'd get a stroke or they'd get a heart attack from trying to get up there. And to me, it's like, that's what I'm trying to say is like, you're essentially robbing yourself of your best self. And to me, it's like, why? And it kind of sucks when you think about it. You're like, man, at the end of the day, it's just because I didn't have enough self-discipline to be like, no.
Yeah.
And that's so like, when you think about it, you're like, man, it's me. It's no one else messing it up but myself.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like we want to be so in control of things. But then when you think about it, you're like, you can't even control what you put in your mouth. Yeah. And to me, it's like, damn. Yeah. That's where it's just like, it gets to me as like, I'm in charge of myself, but this is one thing that I feel like I don't have control over sometimes, and it bothers me because not that I have to be a control freak, but this is something that I can control. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard.
I agree. You know, essentially when it comes to basically moving away from, or getting to a bad spot with health or in a good spot, it's basically all down to us, right? There's not a single person that's forcing you to do one or the other. Well, one thing that I do think that doesn't help people is I do believe that there's generally a big part of the population, or maybe even certain demographics, that do lack the education. I do believe that some people don't get to that bad part intentionally. Yeah. I do believe that some people don't know enough information to basically make a conscious decision on whether or not the decisions they're making are hurting them or benefiting them.
Right. Because you don't know any better. I feel like you stick to what you know. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people have been programmed like that throughout their lives, where, especially Hispanic people, you know what I mean? Like, we definitely don't take care of ourselves as much. And I say that because we're Spanish, you know what I mean? So I know that there's plenty of times where we're eating red meat all the time. We're eating carbs all the time. We're eating heavy stuff all the time. Yeah. And it's fine in moderation. But again, sometimes you don't realize how people are unaware of things until you make a change, and then all of a sudden, like, people will criticize you at first, like, what are you doing? You're just trying to eat healthy, la la la. And then all of a sudden there's that shift where then they come asking for help from you. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people are there. They just don't know how to ask for help sometimes, or they don't know where to begin, or maybe they've never even gone to the gym before, so they don't feel comfortable going to the gym at first. Yeah. So to me, it's like everyone's starting point is always going to be different. And like you said, I agree with the fact that there's a lot of people that probably don't intentionally try to get to that point. But then once they're there, they're aware of it, which is good. But sometimes people are aware and they don't act on it. And there's people that are aware and then they do act on it. And I think the best thing that you could do is be aware and then act on it and do something that's going to give you longevity, especially if you have kids. Yeah. That way you can be active with your kids as long as possible. And then when they have kids, you can still be active with your grandkids on top of that. And not necessarily have to be taken care of because you're in a wheelchair or just something where you're not able to. And not that being in a wheelchair is bad, but it is like if you got yourself because of your health. Yeah. Obviously, there's reasons people would end up in situations like that. But I'm saying, like, if you can control your health, then obviously, like, try to prioritize it and just take more pride in yourself. Yes. And I think that right there, it makes people feel better. I feel like it would take a lot of anxiety, depression from some people that they feel that just because they physically don't feel content with themselves. Yeah. So I think everything kind of just, one thing leads to another, you know what I mean? Yeah,
I completely agree. And I also think one thing that, so for example, like, I mean, obviously, you know, we came from the same type of families, and our problem in my immediate family, like with my parents and my brothers, were that my parents did not know any better. Yeah. Like, it was just, they ate what they grew up with. And my mom would make more than enough so we would get seconds, thirds, right?
There was no portion control. It's like you filled the plate. Like
Yeah.
how big the plate was, that's how much you got.
So we measured a meal by the size of the plate, right? It was just like whatever we could fit on the plate, that's one meal, and it's like that's not correct. Obviously, at this point, we know, but so it was basically any education that was passed down to us as kids, right? And that's essentially how generational knowledge works.
Yeah.
Kids that have an advantage or disadvantage, whether it be financially, health wise, whatever. And I always think back to kind of how me and my brothers grew up, and it was massive meals. Like, you can ask mom, I was doing 3, 4, 5 tortillas a meat, like a sitting, like breakfast and dinner. And then every breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sometimes it would be sodas. Like, it was just sodas.
Yeah, because I mean, your eggs and frijoles and tortilla de harina don't taste good unless you drink a Coke with it.
And then
that's what it is. Like, you don't even think about it.
And that's what I was doing personally. And I didn't feel it because I was young. But now that I look back, and like, I was so unhealthy. And the only reason like I stood a chance at changing was because I got a personal trainer at 17 because I wanted to play soccer in college.
I remember that, yeah.
And I had no option but to train my butt off and, basically start learning about health and like foods and things like that. So that's where I cleaned up the most. And I know that my biggest change was as much as I wanted to keep drinking soda because it was good, like, I don't know how, but I got off of it and I switched to water. And it was like, I went from soda to water for like, I'm not sure who I was telling, but for a couple of years straight. And one thing that I did notice about my family was I wasn't even trying, but my mom and dad now, they don't even drink sodas. It's like they're on water as well. Like my brother's obviously, Manny knows a lot, and like we do a lot of water. We have a 5-gallon of water here, and we go through that thing like in 2 days.
That's good.
And it is good. And what I'm trying to say is like, if there's not someone in the generations that makes a change, then it'll stay that way because of what just keep being passed down to the kids.
Yeah, and I think it just takes that one person to shift everything. I think a lot of times we feel like our parents are supposed to kind of set the tone for us and do things for us. And sometimes we have to set the tone for them. Yeah. There's been times that I've had conversations with mom and dad, and it's like, like, you guys are getting to a point where y'all really need to take care of yourselves, and y'all haven't. Yeah. And like, again, like you said, it's just because we don't know any better. It's the way that they grew up. Yeah. And we grew up like that too. But it also got to a point, like you said, where, like, for me, it wasn't necessarily that I got a trainer and I changed everything. I think I went from high school being very active as an athlete, even though I was overweight. Man, I was definitely not healthy as an athlete. Like, I would go to practice and train, and then I would train my butt off, and then go to McDonald's and be like, can I get a large Big Mac with a sundae on the side? Because I've had a hard workout. And I think, too, it's more of just, yes, we thought that our food is supposed to fuel our body, but we have to redirect which food is fueling our body. So it's almost like, do you want food that's regular, or do you want food that's supreme, gasoline, you know what I mean? Like that fuel. And you want whatever's going to give you the best results and the best energy and things like that. And I think that it's just hard to get away from that whenever that's all you've known. Yep. But like you said, now that you made that change, obviously people took notice in your family, and that's all it takes. It just takes one person to kind of be like, let me do something a little bit different, and then that's it. That's the shift that you need. Yep. So now, like, this. So if you and your brothers decide to have kids later on, now you can teach your kids from the get-go, like, as a young athlete, like at 7 or 8, if you want to be an athlete, okay, start eating better. Yeah. Instead of being like, I'll give you the chicken nuggets from McDonald's, which I hate those things. I'm sorry. Like, I hate chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I had one.
I can't remember when I last had McDonald's. And it's like your soda thing. It's like one day you're just like, I don't want it anymore. And then you can't remember the last time that you've had it. Yeah. And now when I think about it, it's like every once in a while I'll crave their fries because somebody might walk in with their fries and they smell amazing. Good, huh? But they never taste as good as they smell. Yeah. Pisses me off. And then it's not worth it anymore for me. I still have certain fast foods that I like, but McDonald's is not it. Yeah. But again, I think it's just more of us taking accountability for ourselves and being like, not only do I want myself to be better, I want my family to be better because I want my family around me as long as possible. My parents they just hit 60. My mom's 59. She'll be 60 in January. And dad suffers from gout sometimes, and to me it bothers me because it's just his diet. He was a huge meat eater, red meat eater. Let me have my beer after work kind of person, you know what I mean? And it's fine. But when I sit there and I lay out dad's diet and everything that he's done, it's been nothing but bad, 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 bad,
Yeah,
bad.
of course.
And it's like you can serve him vegetables, and when he leaves the plate, the vegetables are still there. So it's like, Dad, you're not doing what you're supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like for me, I try to tell my nieces and nephews as much as possible that don't see don't see working out or being fit or exercising as me trying to tell you guys that y'all need to be skinnier or whatever, because I do not play that shit. I don't sit here and I don't tell kids that they're fat or they're overweight. I just say, if you're going to want to be better at the sport, you have to practice, you have to condition, you have to be able to keep up.
Absolutely.
And I think that approach has helped a lot of my nieces and nephews kind of not feel self-conscious about their weight or things like that. So I'm happy that I feel like everyone in my family is starting to kind of get a little bit more knowledge as far as their health.
Yeah.
And that's just where it starts, essentially.
For sure. So, I think awareness, guys. So I think awareness of your situation, just kind of take a step back. I think one thing that we forget as people is that we can be the observer and also the person be observed. What I mean by that is, like, you can really take a step back away from yourself and kind of look from the outside in and be like, okay, what's my lifestyle like? Do I feel good? Am I happy? Like, overall, like, am I happy with how I look? Am I happy with how I feel? And if the answer to any of those are no, then take a look at what it is that you're not happy with, and okay, now what do you have to do to change or to at least start walking in a more positive direction for yourself. So just awareness of your overall lifestyle, because I promise you, if you're not happy with something, 99.9% of the time there is a solution to it.
Yeah.
And it's not always a quick fix. I don't really think there is a quick fix to real, like, happiness.
Not if you want longevity.
Yeah. If
you want something quick, there's a quick fix.
Yeah.
But if you want it to be long term and have longevity, then it's going to take you a little bit to get to that point. Yeah. And again, I'm going to go back to what we said earlier about every rep counts. For me, it's like everything counts when you're being active. Any little thing counts. If you don't want to go to the gym and you don't want to do cardio, that's fine. But if you're going to go to Target, park all the way in the back.
True.
Don't park at the first parking spot. Don't circle the parking lot until the first parking spot opens up. Yeah. Take your ass all the way to the back where there's no one next to you that far. Walk to the store. And then walk the entire store. And I'll bet you're going to walk 3 miles. Yeah. Because you don't realize how much walking you do. Yeah. But to me, it's like you could park right in front of the store. But you have the choice to just add a few extra steps throughout your day here and there. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. And all that adds up eventually. Yeah. Same thing with your meals. You want to eat one bad meal, cool. Or if you want to eat bad the whole day, fine. Pick one where you're going to eat good. And eventually you're going to start picking 2 and then 3. And then you're only going to want to eat that one bad meal once a day because you realize how much better you feel. Yeah. And I don't care what anyone says. Anytime that you eat processed food or junk food, you feel like shit. You feel great in that moment. You're like, man, this is so good. It was convenient. It smells amazing. And it is. But then afterwards, like for me, I get digestive problems sometimes. So I get like bloated and I feel full and I just feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And then I feel upset with myself because I'm like, now I just feel like shit. And I know that I ate shit. So I ain't shit. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? And it's not really like that. But it's like the times that I've sat there and I've ate a full plate of clean food, not only do I feel full, I feel good about myself because I don't have that uncomfortable feeling from eating processed food. Yeah. And then when you do get away from it a little bit, you realize how much stuff comes with that food that you didn't realize. Man, I felt bad because, not that I feel bad, like you didn't realize that you were bloated because of your food. You didn't realize that you were having drowsiness because of your food. You didn't realize that you're getting extra acne because of your food. Just things like that when you take it away and then you add it again, you're like, I can clearly feel the difference. Very obvious. It's crazy. Yeah. So guys, health is very important, guys. Be very aware of your situation. We want to live as long as possible because there's nothing more beautiful than the life that you have now. Like Mona said, you only have one body to live it with, so take care of it as much as possible. Okay, so you're back in town. It's been about 4 months, and I think yesterday you went on to you met with some people here.
you did a shoot kind of situation where you did like. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So the last time I was here, remember I told you that I was not trying. I was networking with a few people from here. Yeah. I was networking with this guy that owns Geomatics. His name is Arnold. I can't remember his last name. I know that's really bad, but it's just I don't ever use his last name, so his name's Arnold. And he started Geomatics a year ago. They just had their anniversary. Congratulations. And his mission when he first started Geomatics was, I believe he had been in a car accident and had just had a lot of issues as far as being able to get back health-wise, mentally, physically. Obviously, with car accidents come hospital bills that aren't unexpected financially, and financial hardship sucks for anyone, you know. So he told me that when he first started gym addicts, he was going to the gym 3 times a day, and that his mom's like, why the hell are you going to the gym 3 times a day? And for him, it was his way of staying mentally stable because he wasn't able to do a lot at that point. So anyways, Arnold started that a year ago. He's been great as far as being supportive to the community, as far as being supportive to his athletes, because he does have like a handful of athletes that he sponsors through his company. And a lot of them are here in the Valle. And I just got very fortunate to meet him the last time that I was here, and that he saw in me something where he felt that I could represent his brand to his expectations. So obviously, whenever I left, I had that connection. We've kept in touch. He's been very supportive of a lot of the things that I've done. So obviously, I want to reciprocate that to him, and I want to be able to make him proud. You know what I mean? So yesterday, before I came back to Texas, I had sent him a message saying I was going to be in town if we wanted to link up to do stuff. So yesterday we did kind of have like, I wouldn't say necessarily like a photo shoot, but we definitely got some content going. I did meet his assistant. Her name's Jocelyn. She's amazing. She was so sweet. She's so cute. She was like just like petite and like fit, and Jesus Christ, like I was like, can I be you? So I worked with them, and that's what I'm trying to say is, I feel like networking not only is that you just want different connections, but you want to be able to socialize with like-minded people.
Absolutely.
And to me, like meeting them has given me so much insight in things that I want to do in future projects. So to me, I like that I've been able to meet people like that. And Geomatics is a really cool brand. I love their designs. I feel like he definitely knows what he's doing. And so far, he's been doing great. I feel like here in town, a lot of people really support him. So that's awesome for him.
What I do like about here in this area, in the Valley, McAllen, Edinburgh, Forest, things is that I mean, some people kind of have their different opinions on it. Obviously, I haven't been here my whole life like maybe other people have, but there are small communities that, for the most part, do support each other, but it's like a community where people, for example, like I know a couple of local brands, like fitness brands, and everybody just seems to be supportive. So I know another brand, which is Get Fit with Pitt.
I've seen that one,
Yeah, so I bought a pair of shorts with him, from him and kind of supported. And I've seen other people support him. I've seen those same people support Geomatics. Like, I really like the name Geomatics. To me, I saw them because Gold's Gym does like a thing where vendors can come inside the gym. Yeah,
he does a lot of that, like promotion for his business. Like, the good thing about him is that he does have a lot of connections with local businesses. So like, he worked with different gyms, he works with different food companies. I think he works with a company named Food to Fork or something like that.
Fork to Fit, maybe.
It's something I can't remember the name exactly. It's Fork to Fit, but it's prepackaged meals. They hit your macros and everything like that. They offer a discount code through their athletes. Like, they're all linked up together. And to me, it's like, that's what it's about. It's like, if you want somebody to support your business, support others around you, and it's going to come back to you. And I'm glad to hear that there is a lot of people in town supporting him, because unfortunately in some towns, it is very hard for you to get the support of local people around you. They will support you eventually when other people are supporting you. But when you're first starting off, they're like, what the hell is she doing? Why is she doing that? Who does she think she is? Blah, blah, blah. And eventually you get people that believe in you. And I think that's why, for me, it's very important to support small business if they reach out to me, because getting people to get on the train at first is so hard. So when you find people that believe in you, you feel like you believe in yourself more, and it shows through all your work.
Yeah, and I think since you just mentioned that it's their anniversary for Geomatics, I think a lot of people who don't own a business or have experience in a business really don't know how difficult it is to even keep a business alive or maintain a business
For a
even
year,
for a
yeah.
year. Like
For a year.
because I mean, people are so used to hearing like big brands like Amazon or Walmart being a year in business for like 40 years or whatever, so they think it's simple, but it's so difficult to do it from a very local perspective.
It is.
And especially, I haven't specifically been in business for clothing myself, but I heard clothing is not easy to do simply because I'm not sure how, the inventory is being handled, but usually you got inventory that you have to sell because you've invested a certain amount of money. So it's not easy. So, even being in business for a year already, I think is a phenomenal accomplishment, and should be very motivating for the owners of Geomatics to just kind of keep pushing forward. I know that you brought back a shirt. It was a sleeveless cutoff, and the material of it was phenomenal. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it was such good weight on the material. Like, usually you get your lightweight, which is pretty good, but I like the material that kind of sits on me. It doesn't float on me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the material felt phenomenal, and the Geomatics logo on the shirt was like, it was brilliant. Like, and I put it on, and the only reason it didn't look good was not because of the shirt, it was because of me. I just got back from Cancun.
Because your Cancun weight.
But I put it on, it was actually very motivating. I was like, man, I would love to see myself in this shirt, like, obviously maybe a couple of weeks from now.
Right.
So, like, it's literally when I put that shirt on, like, I got motivation just to be.
Because it makes you feel like you look more like.
Yeah.
Like an athlete, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's always very important whenever you're doing a company as far as clothing. Yeah. Is whatever clothes that you put out there, you want to make sure that it makes people feel empowered to want to be better, do better, look better. Yeah. That's one thing I do like about all his stuff. He's done a great job as far as picking quality product and good product selection.
Yeah.
And obviously there's always going to be hit and misses here and there, but just like you said, sometimes most people don't want a shirt that's going to just float on them or look boxy. You want something that just kind of fits and flows with your body. With women, it's very difficult to sew clothes to women for the simple fact that we're all shaped so differently. You could have a girl with a bigger upper body and lower body, the smaller. And it's like, or you could have somebody that doesn't want to be so exposed with their sports bra, or maybe the leggings are too tight for this. You just never know. There's so many things that could go sideways.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely difficult to be able to sell clothes, but I think whatever he's doing is working out very well for him. One thing that he's mentioned is that he definitely listens to client feedback. So if you were to say, hey, I love this shirt, but it doesn't feel like it's laying on me. It feels like it's floating on me. It feels boxy. Okay, now I'm going to know what material I used, and I probably won't use that one next time.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, I'm actually going to look a little bit more into what they got to see if there's something that I can pick out myself. Because, like, that's one thing. I mean, I've started businesses myself. I've had businesses myself. And having support from local people I think it's very important. I love supporting local businesses when I can, as much as I can. So
they just their faith collection just went live.
Is that same person?
Yeah.
Oh.
But he has different what are they called? Like
categories or
collections, maybe.
Collection,
okay, so a collection. So his faith collection just went live, and I like a lot of the shirts because they're more like I know that you're pretty religious, you know what I mean? So he has one shirt that's awesome. I've ordered 2 of them. It says strength across the front of it, but the T is across, and then it has Philip 4:13, I believe.
4:13?
I think so. I can't remember the scripture number right off the top of my head. So he has that one, and he has another one that it says faith in the back. And I think to me sometimes it's just nice to see different things like that. So I feel like there's going to be a little bit of everything for everyone, depending on what you're looking for. The only thing with his line is that I don't think that they do restocks once the collection's done.
Right. It usually goes like that.
Yeah. I think for him, it's just better to drop initially what he's going to do, and then you're going to get something new the next time, which I think is pretty cool.
No, I think it's cool. Gives them more opportunity to kind of explore. And then maybe down the road, they can kind of look back on the products sold to be like, oh, you know what, this one did really good. Maybe we can.
Yeah,
bring
then you
this
get your
back to it.
staples. You know what I mean?
So that's good. Okay, so going back home, do you have anything planned for yourself? Do you have any future
I
challenges
do.
that might be
I
coming up?
actually have a project in the works, but I'm just can't really talk about it too much just yet. But I did start working with a different company, and I'm very excited for the opportunities that this company can essentially give me in the long run. You know what I mean? It is a company that I had my eye on for a while now.
Yeah, cool.
So the fact that it happened, I was very happy. And I think sometimes we forget that if you are persistent and you do it, a lot of times it can happen for you.
Yes.
But if you don't try, it's always going to be a no. If you don't reach out, it's always going to be a no. For me, I think I mentioned it the last time. I try to put myself in people's faces.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my name's Monica. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't have to be like, sponsor me, anything. I just got to introduce myself, and everything just kind of flows after that. You know what I mean? I think when you feel a general connection with somebody, it works.
Yes.
So to me, I feel like being able to kind of, and I have to kind of get out of my own head sometimes, because I'm not the type of person that just goes up to a stranger and is like, hi, because I'm just not that type of person. But with this, for some reason, I believe in myself so much that it doesn't make me nervous to go introduce myself to somebody, because I know what I can bring to the table, and I just feel confident in myself. Awesome. So anytime that I walk up, it's like, hi, I'm Monica. I don't even hesitate. But any other time, I usually get nervous if I'm unsure about things. And I feel like for me, that has been almost surprising that I have that level of confidence when it comes to that sometimes, because I was like, where did that come from? But
well, you've definitely come a long way in a lot of aspects of your life, and I think confidence being your number one. Like I've seen you in those situations, and I obviously know that the reason why you can put your foot in these places, there's no other reason besides the fact that you're confident enough to put your foot in these places. You know, and I think I just kind of want to close out with something that you just said, which was, like, if you don't ask, it's always going to be a no. If you don't reach out, it's always going to be a no. And there's one thing that I heard recently, where someone said, like, you in life, the only reason that you don't have something is because you don't ask for it.
Exactly.
So there's a saying or a verse that just goes like, you have not simply because you ask not, right? And I think sometimes we underestimate the power of truly asking for the things that what it is that we want or want to accomplish. And I think we mix that up with, we mix asking for things with being greedy or a negative, we connect something negative to it. And I think that's not correct. In this life, it all boils down to it only being one that we have. And I mean, there's proof everywhere, inside and outside of scripture, in life, inside and out, that you are supposed to ask for the things that you want, because the things that you want don't know to come to you unless you ask for it. That's
true. And it's almost like when you ask for it, you speak it into existence without realizing it. And there's also that saying, like, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not that you have to annoy people, but sometimes you have to squeak a little bit for someone to pay attention to you and what you want. And again, like I said, if you don't sit there and say, hey, Adrian, I want to do a podcast with you, you're never going to be able to read my mind and say, let's do a podcast. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people, they get in their own head and they rob themselves of that opportunity because they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be rejected. Yep. But like I said earlier, like, if you don't try, it's already a no. Yes. So it's already a no. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like, okay, it's already a no. Let me just try anyways. And if he says no, I already have a no. Yeah. It's no big deal. Mm-hmm. And every single time, like, maybe with the exception of like once, it has worked for me. Yeah. And to me, it's like, I just have to keep reminding myself that I have to put myself in that position where I believe that I'm there. And a lot of times, like, it's, like I said, sometimes you got to think it into existence. A lot of times I already see myself there. Mm-hmm. Before I even walk in the door, it's like, he's going to accept me. Mm-hmm. And I'm already going to be able to do this for them. Like, I'm already thinking of what I'm going to do because I believe in it so much that I know that they're going to talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, like, that has changed so much. Yeah. And I think a lot of people would have bigger business opportunities. They would have all these opportunities that they really want if you just said something. Yes. That's it. Just say, like, just ask. Yep. And it doesn't show weakness to ask. I completely agree. And with that, we're going to close it out. Yes, so, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of the A7E podcast. Guys, this is episode
number 12, guys. So we're 12 episodes in.
Yay.
Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Share this with anybody that you like. Any comments that you might have, please share them below. Guys, this is my cousin Monica. Monica, thank you so much for coming
You're
on.
welcome. And if they have any questions, every time that I come back to Texas, I'll
Yes.
try to do a podcast. So if there's anything that you guys want to know about more the next time, just let me know. I'm always open. So if anyone needs to reach out for anything, if y'all want to hire Chris as your trainer, let me know. I'll hook you up with him. He does online training, so
Yes.
you don't have to be in person. And this man knows his shit. So if you don't know where to start, you can always start with an online trainer and then go from there.
Cool. All right,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
See ya.